Hello and welcome. It's me, Percita, and this is Percita's Paradox. Thank you so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate you, your time, and effort in finding me on this thing called YouTube. If you are new to this channel, thank you so much for joining me today. And if you are an original OG subscriber who's been with me through thick and thin, thank you as always for your continued support. So today, I just wanted to come, get a little chatty, see what I could do in regards to getting some thoughts off of my head and out of my head, and at the same time, figure out some things that I think you may want to talk about, right? I've been getting a few messages here and there from you all in regards to some subject matters, and I just think I can combine them all into one or two topics. So the topic I think we should talk about today is, are you the drama? All right, now I'm gonna say it again. Are you the drama? And I say that because the older I get, the more I'm starting to understand and recognize that life really is not very difficult. It's pretty simple. I realize that most of the things that we find ourselves getting caught up on are really things that we create, meaning life is not the problem, right? We are creating the problem because the simplicity of just what life really constitutes typically comes down to you reflecting on it when something tragic happens, right? Or someone gets ill, or someone passes away, or you lose your job, or something dramatic happens. You tend to fall back on the idea of what the simplicity of life truly is. And I'm always interested in wondering what is wrong with us as humans that we don't quite understand that when everything is okay, when things are going well. Why do we find ourselves listening to so many other people or other things or whatever it is that is influencing us, right? To just create this chaos within us that just doesn't really work in the idea of what life is truly about. I say that over and over in my spirit because I'm starting to recognize, like, I literally create problems. I'm literally putting myself in spaces that are created by me and me alone. Because when I think about just the day to day of just waking up and, being grateful and going through my morning and doing just the generalizations of life outside of things like work, and somebody might say, well, girl, that's my drama right there. Work. Even that, outside of work, right? There's really nothing that you don't control. And even work, if you're self-employed or if you're in a position where you really are controlling your environment, you even control that. So anything that happens throughout your day that is not what you want to happen, you would have to know that it was allowed in your space. So we hear a lot now, we talk a lot about minding our business and drinking our water, doing what we need to do to like stay within our own lane, and all of these other things. But it kind of jumps onto this idea that I was talking about in a video or two ago, where I was talking about the influence of things around you and what we find ourselves really getting involved in. Because even the things that we want to buy into, be it tangible or not, because we buy so much stuff that really holds no value. I mean, how many things can you really say that you have purchased over the last, I don't know, let's give it 3 months, that you needed? And I do mean needed, not wanted, not felt like you deserved it, not wanting to live a soft life or whatever other thing that we're talking about right now. You need it, right? It's really kind of this thing of like, we just do it because we want to. We're in a space of feeling like that is what life is. It's about living and being able to do that type of stuff. And I'm not telling you that I'm any better than you, because I absolutely will fall into all of the categories that I just said. I'm just telling you that when I started to think about when I feel overwhelmed and when I feel like life is so difficult and when I feel like, oh my God, what is really happening? I really have to stop and think about how much of that I'm creating. Because things that we know that we can do, we typically should do. Things that we cannot, that's the simplicity of it. It's out of your realm. There's nothing you could do. So you just kind of move on and deal with it. If life is to be lived, right, then what is it that we understand about that when we have no other choice, is what I'm trying to say. When someone is ill or if something tragic is happening, catch what I'm saying? You have no other choice but to look at the idea of what's important in that moment. That same moment, honestly, is the exact same moment even when everything is going well. But there's something in our spirits, our minds, our mindsets that convolutes all of that and puts us in a completely different dynamic of not thinking that life is really that simple. Loving yourself, loving the people around you, doing what you can do, living in a means that makes you happy, be it overly luxury or not, and being able to know that you can delegate off the energy of competition or lack or whatever you want to feel, right? That you're creating, because that's the problem you're creating, instead of just living in the life of gratitude. I think it's really interesting. And I think it's really interesting because I'm trying to learn to do what I'm telling you to do, like I said, without any tragic situation happening around me. I'm trying to learn that life is not problematic, that we are problematic. We create problems, right? That life is really as simple as it would be if it's all I had. And if I'm in that space, then anything extra that I would have would just give me a space of gratitude. It would just give me a space of thankfulness. If I add or delete from that, wouldn't matter because I'd be so content in what I had. Does that make sense? And I'm not telling you to not want or desire bigger and better things or to be in a space of increase. I'm saying that life itself, the true foundation of it, is not based on those things. And we tend to base the way we live in living instead of actually understanding that it's not. It's actually the extra. It's the accessory to it because life is the outfit, right? It's the literal complete fit. Extras like the way that you live and the extras you would have financially or experiences are all accessories. And I stress that because I'm really starting to understand that this is what makes me sometimes feel as if I'm not really doing what I need to do because I'm not paying attention to my greatest asset, right? And the true wealth that I'm really starting to understand in all of this is just my peace. And in the peace of knowing that it's all greatly divined and orchestrated, and that all I really have to do is follow the lead of my higher being, meaning my spirit, to tell me where it is I need to be. And in saying that, it gets really philosophical, and I could feel the snaps and the people who are like, yes, proceed. And I could also feel the energy of the people like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, you're the first to be out to buy the name brand. And I'm not saying to not do those things. I'm saying that you have to make sure that those are not the sum totals of what you think living is. Those are not the caveats to the idea that you're living good, right? Living good is the peace that we're talking about. Living good is the breath that you're breathing, the sight that you're seeing with, the tongue that you're using to speak. It's the basic things in life. No one wants to be basic, right? It's literally now like a cliche, like, oh, she's less than because she's basic. I'm telling you that I'm trying to take it back to the basics, especially with the way that I feel and think about life, because I'm understanding that that's where the problems start, when you don't understand those little tidbits that I'm saying right now. So I just wanted to come. It's not going to be a long video. I just want you to think about, are you the drama? Are you really the person that you don't realize you are that's creating problems? Because I'm going to say it again. Life is not problematic. We make things problematic. That would mean that you would be the problem, because life itself is just to be lived, and it is extremely simple and it is extremely basic. If we can keep that in mind when we feel overwhelmed, if we can keep that in mind when we put others' opinions before who we believe we are, and if we keep that in mind before we try to define ourselves, if we understand that you are living exactly the way you're supposed to, regardless of what it looks like. It's where you're supposed to be, because that's not where you're going to end. It's just a phase. The problems come when we don't really stop to understand that when it's all said and done, the only thing that really will matter at the end of your day is your peace. The only thing that will really matter is the idea of how you feel about yourself. The idea of trying to live up to other people and what they think that your lifestyle should be and what they think that your angle of success should be can just grow so problematic that you're literally holding a problem and perpetuating a problem that you didn't create, nor can you stop, because you'll get caught up in just what that is. And you're trying to then listen to others instead of really listening to yourself. So when I say, are you the drama? I really want you to understand that not only do you have the power to not be the drama or the problem, you also have the power to shun other people who are trying to give you something that they may be struggling with. So many times you're okay, right? I mean, you're walking through the day, everything is fantastic, you're not even really tripping off of nothing. And then here comes somebody with something of what they think you should be doing or how they think you should be responding or telling you about somebody else's life. And then you go and find yourself then reevaluating how you think you should be living and how you think you should be responding. I mean, how many times have we got caught up on what I'm gonna call celebrity drama? Things about other people ain't got nothing to do with you on no level, on any level, right? And you're still finding yourself balancing your mind to really make it make sense on how you're comparing your life to that person's life. I'm proposing that we really have to get to a space where we understand that it is really, really, really not about that. It is really not about like what anybody else has. I've heard a few people get on Instagram, and I think it's a couple sounds that are going around. You know, you're talking about you're not in competition with anybody. This isn't quite competition. This is really a matter of spinning all of the things that you want, right? And really missing out on the idea, all of the things that you have, because you're so focused on the things that you want that you don't really pay attention to where you currently are. And then you start to really spin this idea of how woe is me your life should be, because you're not living where you are. You're just only looking at everything else. So it's like you're in a beautiful home, looking out the window, looking at your neighbor's house, wishing your life was that, because you don't understand that house that you're in is probably something you prayed for that you're now living. So when you think about am I the drama, understand that life is just too simple to be in that space. Work with what you can work with, meaning what you have is enough. It's enough in the moment. If you're desiring more, don't look at what you have now as the end. Look at it as a phase. So you're going to take care of this phase as best you can, because you understand that you're going to be a blessing to someone else. And you're probably going to give what you have to them as God gives you something for your next phase. It's kind of the way I'm telling you I'm looking at it. So maybe it's just me. But what I'm proposing today is that we really, really understand that life is simple. It is not complicated. You wake up, you literally do what you can do, and you go to sleep. Everything in between, anything that's problematic, you got to pay attention that it's been created and it's not necessarily a problem that cannot go away, right? When you're talking about things like finances and we need a job and we're in COVID and, shit is just ridiculous. Pandemic has just thrown people like in all kinds of like financial downwinds. That's not what I'm referring to, because that's not, COVID is not something that would just normally happen, right? This is a traumatic pandemic situation. So this is not one thing that you're going to then pigeonhole me down to say, well, girl, you don't understand. There's so many people who don't have work right now, and that's easy for you to say. That's not what I'm talking about. Focus. What I'm talking about is that if we're living life simple, you may have something that you can give to someone that's close enough to you to have access to help them during this time. And guess what? It may not be financial. It may not. Maybe it is, but it may not. But if your heart is open and you're in a place of gratitude, guess what? You're going to also be accessible for you to be able to discern that and give what you can give. If you can give financially, give. If you can help somebody get a job, do that. These are all solutions, not problems. So if you catch what I'm saying, it's the simplicity of knowing what you have access to and being your brother's keeper in that sense, in a sense of just literally lifting them up, even if it's something as simple as giving them some encouraging words or making a meal or whatever it is you have. Once you learn that you have to really take care of where you are and understand that living really happens for you the way you create it to happen, meaning if you're only focusing on the problem, then that's really where your life is going to be problematic and you are the drama. Or you then live your life in a space of, you know what, maybe let's just say financial. Maybe I don't have the money that I want, but I absolutely can't knock what I have. And I'm absolutely going to be thankful that it could be worse, even if you have to say that to yourself. live it in a place of gratitude, live it in a place of thanksgiving. And I think that will just like make everyone's situation that much better. Remember, life is not problematic. We are problematic. We create problems. Life is to be lived, and do it to the best of your ability on every tier and every level you have, instead of waiting for you to have tangible things that you typically are buying that you don't even really flip and need. You're just buying because you think that that's what you're supposed to do, or what you're supposed to be able to showcase, to show people that you're living life. Do better. That's all I'm going to say, is do better. Now, if this doesn't fit for you and you're like, girl, I already did this and this is the way I live, kudos to you. Absolutely feel free to hit me in the comments to give me any insight that you can on how you created that life for you, so that other people can also see it and I can read it and maybe help myself. If this is something that you did not think about, then I'm happy that I could help you and share what I'm dealing with in my journey on living life at its basic, right? And living life, not living good life, soft life, living life to live the simplicity of it. So hopefully that'll help you today. Hopefully it's given you some sense of knowledge and some sense of food for thought for you to move through and have, just something to meditate on today. So as usual, if you have been with me this long, you already know what I'm going to say. Please make sure that you like, share, and comment. That would be fantastic. Make sure you hit the notification button. Make sure that you subscribe. Follow me, if you can be so kind, on TikTok and Instagram. I will leave my handle right now, right here. And everything else, follow suit. If there's something that you want to talk about, make sure that you hit me in the comments and leave me that as well. But before you do any of those things, I need you to do 3 things. They are: live life authentic. As always, thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate you, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.